TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom and good evening. This is Maayan Hassan for TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. Today's top stories. Iran reiterates its pledge to strike Israel, asserting it will not forgive Jerusalem for retaliating to the IRGC's launch of 181 ballistic missiles towards Israeli territory. Hezbollah Secretary General Naim Kassem proclaims his terror group's ongoing commitment to the war against Israel and the United States. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant asserts that wherever Hamas rears its head, it will face the IDF's unrelenting forces. The Islamic Republic of Iran remains adamant on attacking Israel, in response to the latter's retaliatory strikes, which significantly degraded the Islamic Republic's aerial defense array, along with its ballistic missile production infrastructure. Iranian Defense Minister Aziz Nasirzadeh, following a weekly cabinet meeting in Tehran, sought to double down on the Ayatollah regime's efforts to downplay the impact of Israel's precision strike on IRGC installations.
The enemy has sought to hurt both our defensive and offensive systems, but was not very successful because we had made arrangements and were in the know. We have already taken on operating defense measures, the same military industries that you see. We had neither dead nor wounded because we saw that preparations were needed and we were informed.
It is interesting to note that in contrast to the Iranian defense minister's claims, Tehran's official position acknowledges at least 4 casualties, all among Iran's military ranks. In contradiction with the official statements made by his regime, Minister Nasirzadeh followed by backtracking on his previous claims regarding the harm inflicted to Iran's ballistic missile production, stating that some of the damage caused by the Israeli strike was repaired by the following day.
Even if something is damaged, it's local knowledge. We even replaced one of the defense hub systems the next day. The production knowledge is indigenous, so there is no disruption in the manufacturing process of missiles, and no problems have been created.
While it is clear that Iran's defense minister is lying about the extent of the damage caused to Tehran's military infrastructure, he emphasized that the Islamic Republic can't forgive and must respond to Israel's retaliatory strikes.
Even if the Zionist regime Israel shoots an arrow into our deserts, it still dares to target a country with a cultured, ancient, and strong identity. We can't forgive and we must respond.
Meanwhile, amid reports of Hezbollah Secretary General Naim Kassem fleeing to Iran in fear of his life, the newly appointed Iranian proxy leader addressed his followers in a televised speech, initially thanking those who appointed him and pledging to pursue the path of war and destruction.
I thank the trust of the leadership of Hezbollah, the esteemed leadership of the Shura Council, the trust of the Mujahideen and the people on this journey. They chose me for this heavy burden. But this is jurisprudential proof. I seek help from God Almighty to be a servant of this path, the path of the Mujahideen and the martyrs, and to bear this heavy burden, God willing. We will continue to implement the war plan that was developed with the leadership of the resistance. We will remain on the war path within the drawn political directions. Of course, we deal with the developments of this stage accordingly.
The Hezbollah leader went on to assert that the Iran-instigated war in fact embodies the global conflict between Israel, the United States, and Europe, versus the Iran-led Axis Western-designated terror groups.
Today in Gaza, Lebanon, and the region, we are facing a major project. This is not an Israeli war on Lebanon and Gaza. This is an Israeli-American-European global war. It has all the capabilities on a global level to eliminate the resistance and eliminate our peoples in the region. We are ready. If it is imposed on us, we will face it with all strength, determination, steadfastness, and pride, and we will be victorious, Allah willing.
While the Hezbollah leader expressed extensive criticism over the lack of Arab support of Iran's belligerent moves, he alleged that Hezbollah is not fighting at Iran's command. And while the terror organization's aspirations coincide with Tehran's proclaimed foreign policy, Kassem asserted that combating Israel and the United States is a means to achieve its own objectives.
No one is fighting on our behalf. Let everyone know. We are not fighting on behalf of anyone, nor for anyone's personal project plan. We are fighting for our project. Our project is the protection of Lebanon. Our project is the liberation of our land. Our project is to support our brothers in Palestine. Our project is for our country to be independent. Our project is to prevent America and Israel from controlling us.
Meanwhile, Hezbollah continues to launch hundreds of various projectiles towards Israel's northern communities, with a number of casualties reported, including 2 farmers who were caught unprepared while working in an agriculture field.
Good afternoon. We received 2 wounded with shrapnel injuries from the area of the north. Both of them are in their 40s. One is lightly wounded, the second is seriously wounded with multiple injuries in various parts of the body. He is currently in intensive care, but his life is not in danger.
Meanwhile, in Lebanon, amid ongoing activities by IDF ground forces to destroy Hezbollah terror infrastructure along the border with Israel, the Israeli Air Force has conducted extensive precision strikes against Hezbollah targets deep within Lebanon, to include the Bekaa Valley in particular. And while Washington vocally supports Jerusalem's right to target Hezbollah infrastructure, it is demanding that Israel avoid devastating Lebanon, irrespective of the fact that Hezbollah has embedded most of its military installations within civilian communities.
We support their right to go after legitimate Hezbollah targets, but in doing so, it is critical that they do so in a way that does not threaten the lives of civilians. That's especially true in densely populated areas like Baalbek. It's important that they not threaten the lives of journalists, UN peacekeepers, members of the Lebanese armed forces, and it's also critical that civilian infrastructure and significant cultural heritage sites be protected.
U.S. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller went on to highlight that the Biden administration ultimately wants to see a ceasefire in Lebanon, for which purpose White House Special Envoy Amos Hochstein and Brett McGurk traveled to Israel today for meetings with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's point man, Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer.
We do ultimately want to see a ceasefire, and we want to see a diplomatic resolution that allows civilians both in Lebanon and Israel return to their homes. 2 White House officials, Brett McGurk and Amos Hochstein, are traveling to Israel to engage on issues including a diplomatic resolution in Lebanon, as well as how we get to an end to the conflict in Gaza and other regional matters. And one of the things that they are going to discuss is how we can find a diplomatic resolution that fully implements a UN Security Council Resolution 1701, something that we have not seen over the past few years.
It is interesting to note that while hoping for a resolution, the United States has decided not to call for an immediate ceasefire.
We want to get to the point where we have a ceasefire and a diplomatic resolution. We are not calling for one right now. What we are trying to do is structure such a diplomatic resolution with all of the relevant parties. That's the diplomatic work that we have been engaged in. We're not there yet, but we're working to get there. We have ongoing conversations with them about what a diplomatic resolution can look like and what it should look like. And those conversations are ongoing. I should point out, not just with the government of Israel, but also with the government of Lebanon, but I'm not going to read those out publicly.
Turning to the Gaza Strip, where Defense Minister Yoav Gallant met with IDF forces in the enclave's border town of Rafah.
Wherever Hamas tries to raise its head, it meets the IDF in Rafah and Khan Yunis and Jabaliyah. Wherever it raises its head, it is taken down. The operation that has been taking place for the past half a year already, since the beginning of the month of May in the Rafah sector until now, has brought about that the Nahal Brigade in particular, alongside the Javadi Brigade and the 401 Brigade under command of Hassan, may his memory be blessed, who was killed in the northern sector of Gaza, but in this joint operation of the Nahal, 401, and Javadi Brigades on the Rafah sector is what created the conditions that ultimately made Sinwar make a mistake. Pressuring, working, observing, executing raids, conduction missions, encircling. We don't know everything in a precise manner, but the enemy makes a mistake and sustains a blow. So the result obtained from this elimination is your result.
Jerusalem's top defense official further stressed the importance of the IDF forces applying pressure on Hamas in the field, while the political establishments work extensively behind the scenes to reach a political solution that will allow for the return of the 101 Israeli hostages that remain in Hamas captivity. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. I would like to encourage you to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Separately, if you are blessed by our programs, which are exclusively donation-based, please consider making a donation to TV7 Israel News. You can do so at our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. I am Ayan Hessen, wishing you a Shabbat Shalom, and we will see you again during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.